Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Malcolm and I'm back with another video, and as you guys have seen from the title, today we are talking about the best quirks from class 1A. I want to make sure I say that again so y'all really get it, because I know y'all are going to try to kill me in the comments. We are talking about the best quirks from class 1A, not the best students. As we know from My Hero Academia, there are bad quirks that people are able to make good. We're not talking about that. Like Lemillion, for example. Lemillion's quirk is pretty bad if we are being honest. However, Lemillion had the ability to use that bad quirk, train with it, and turn him into a really, really good hero. We're just talking about the quirks. Before we get into the ranking, let's talk about what is a good quirk. See, I think a good quirk is a quirk that has the ability to be useful in a bunch of situations. There are some quirks that are super good in a fighting situation, or they're only good for reconnaissance or mobility. But a good quirk gives you the ability to be useful in a wide variety of situations. And a good quirk is also something that pretty much anybody can use. Y'all remember when All For One was about to take Best Genius quirk, he was like, yeah, I thought this was a good quirk, but it would probably take way too much time to actually make it good, so I'm not even gonna steal it. So that's what we're talking about in this video, the purely good quirks. In the number 5 position, we have the quirk Explosion. As we all know, Explosion is Bakugo's quirk, and yes, Bakugo is an absolute genius with his quirk, but even without him boosting the quirk, it's just a good quirk on its own. The quirk Explosion allows the user to sweat a nitroglycerin-like sweat, which they then have the ability to ignite from their palms at will. And these explosions can be crazy. As we've seen from the show, the destructive capabilities from Explosion is nuts. We've seen Bakugo make some incredibly huge explosions with this quirk. However, even though you can make huge destructive explosions, you also have the ability to make smaller explosions for a different type of utility. You can use small explosions for extra propulsion in throwing things, or even giving yourself an extra mobility when you're fighting. Bakugo was able to hone this in so much he's able to fly. Now let's be honest, most people with this quirk probably wouldn't be able to fly, but hey, he the GOAT. Some of the downsides of this quirk, however, if you use big explosions or you're repeatedly exploding, it can start to hurt your forearms and shoulders. And the quirk functions slower in cold weather. Bakugo mentioned that when it's cold outside, it takes longer for him to be able to explode, and also it's harder for him to create sweat. But all in all, this is a fantastic quirk, and it has to go in the number 5 position for best quirks in class 1A. In the number 5 position, we have Hardening. Hardening is Ejiro Kirishima's quirk, and it allows him to harden and sharpen any part of his body. The main benefit of this quirk is it gives you enhanced durability. In your hardened state, you are almost impenetrable. That means you can withstand bullets, melee damage, huge objects falling on top of you. We've even seen him withstand flames and heat. The durability in this quirk is insane. And you can make yourself rigid and sharp, which almost kind of makes it like you have blades on your body. And another part of this quirk that isn't talked about enough is the enhanced strength that comes with it. While in hardened mode, you have the ability to do things like smash through walls or carry heavy loads. And the longer you train with it, the harder you're able to get. And the longer you train with it, the longer you'll be able to hold yourself in that mode, and the more damage you'll be able to take. Now, the main downsides to this quirk is there is a limit to how long you can hold it. Like, you can't just take damage forever, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's not a huge downside, and it's more or less a close range only quirk. You don't have the ability to really fight at long range. But all in all, it is still a fantastic quirk, and I'm gonna have to put it in the number 4 position. Next up, in the number 3 position, we got Creation. Creation is Yao Momo's quirk, and it basically gives you the ability to create anything as long as you understand the atomic makeup of it and you have enough lipids to do so. And when I say anything, you can create anything. You just gotta understand it. So here's the thing. Momo is a genius, so she is able to use this quirk on an absolutely different level. However, the quirk itself is still good. I feel like all you need to do to make this a good quirk is understand the atomic makeup of like 5 or 6 things. You don't have to have a huge encyclopedia of things in your mind like Yao Momo does. You could just know a couple things and piece those things together. Like, all you need is a couple things like medicine, a gun, maybe a rope, or some type of armor. Like, you really could make a lot of things out of a small amount of things. And then after you got your couple things memorized, then you can add on more and more and more. But I don't think you gotta just try to understand the whole universe to make this a good quirk. The main weaknesses of this quirk are you're limited by the lipids in your body, which means you have to be consistently eating to keep them fat lipids up. Which, I mean, is that really a negative? We all would love to just be able to eat all day long. And probably the biggest negative is that you can't create things you don't understand. So you can't just walk up and make anything. You gotta really know what you're doing. But shit, I would say that's a fantastic quirk, so I gotta put it in the number 3 position. In the number 2 position, we have the quirk half cold, half hot. Half cold, half hot is the quirk used by Shoto Todoroki. And we gotta remember, he was literally built for this. This quirk isn't like a lot of the other quirks where, you know, this is kind of what the kid ended up for. He was bred to have an amazing quirk. Endeavor's quirk Hellfire and Todoroki's mom's quirk Frost are already 2 good quirks that both have their downsides. However, when you combine the two, there's almost no downside to the quirk. With the half cold side, you're able to make huge solid ice structures that can be used offensively or defensively. And with the half hot side, you're able to make ridiculous flames, able to match the same heat as the number 1 hero, Endeavor. This really is a crazy quirk on its own. And I mean, as time goes on, you can master it and become better and better. But it really is just a plug and play quirk. Anybody who gets it is pretty much lit. As far as the downsides of this quirk goes, there is not many because the quirk is basically created to not have any downsides. The hot side regulates the cold and the cold side regulates the hot. If I had to pick a downside, it would probably be that it takes practice to be able to use the hot and cold sides simultaneously. But other than that, there's not many weaknesses that come with this quirk. So I'm going to have to put half hot, half cold in the number 2 position. And in the first place position, we have to put the quirk One for All. I honestly don't think this comes as a shock to anybody. One for All is such a good quirk that it almost breaks the show. One for All is a quirk used by Izuku Midoriya, All Might, Nana Shimura, and a bunch of other people. The quirk One for All stockpiles the strength of every user before, making you stronger and stronger the more it gets passed down. Or at least that's what we were told originally. What the quirk actually does is, as it's stockpiling the strength, it also holds the quirks of the past user. So not only do you get undisputed strength, but you also get 6 other amazing quirks that are boosted by One for All itself. So not only do you get the superpower quirk, but you also get Black Whip, Float, Danger Sense, Smoke Screen, Fajin, and whatever the 6th quirk is. This is no spoiler, so I honestly don't know. But I'm sure it's going to be something good. The biggest weakness to One for All is with most quirks, your body is made for the quirk. However, you're not born with One for All. So you have to train your body to be able to get it and use it to its full capabilities. However, that's not how it works for everybody. All Might was able to use One for All from 100% since he first got it. So it doesn't seem like that's the case for everybody, but for some people that's the case, I guess. But I mean, we all knew this was a fantastic quirk. It damn near breaks the entire show of how good the quirk is. So you know One for All has to go in the number 1 spot for best quirks from Class 1A. Now that's the top 5 list, but let's be real. There are a lot of other great quirks in the show that just weren't good enough for the top 5. I think that Mina Ashido's quirk is a very good quirk. I really like Anna Voice. I don't like the wielder of Anna Voice. He fucking sucks. But the quirk itself is good. Engine and Electrification are both pretty good quirks. I mean, Electrification has its downside if you get stupid when you do too much output, but it's a good quirk. And there are also some pretty fucking terrible quirks in 1A, but I think I'm gonna make a whole video on the trash quirks of Class 1A. Let me see what you guys thought of the list. I would love to hear what you guys think are the best quirks in Class 1A. I feel like this list is pretty objective. There's a little wiggle room, but I mean, I do want to hear what you guys think. And I really like doing these ranking series. Like the ranking videos are super fun. So let me know what other ideas you guys have for that. Thank you guys so much. If you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that. I would appreciate it a ton. And I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.